Hello and welcome to my video tutorial on how to create a muzzle flash using Adobe Photoshop CS2 and Adobe After Effects 7.0. There are many types of muzzle flashes out there, but the most basic one consists on a sprite on top of a video. In my opinion, a sprite is much more realistic than using a CGI gun flash or a video footage of a muzzle flash. This is because more CGI gun flashes have a higher frame rate than most videos, and of course better quality. Also, pre-recorded muzzle flashes usually contain higher quality and different frame rate from the actual video, and then sometimes look slow compared to the actual movie, because some of them take too long to fade out, and that's unrealistic because muzzle flashes last much less than a second. It's like poof and they're gone. You can barely see them, but you can notice them. Now, to create the muzzle flash using Photoshop CS2. First, create a blank file. I use 640 image for my muzzle flashes. You can use other res too, but I prefer 640. Once you create it, fill the background with black. Then create a new layer and draw two circles like this. You can fill them with white, yellow, or orange, red, any color you like. It has to be a fiery color so it can give the fire effect and the fire feeling. Now, right click on the layer, go to blending options, and once it opens, check the checkbox where it says outer glow. Once you check it, click on outer glow to go to the options. You will notice a little square thingy that has a color inside. Click it and select a yellow color, orange, or like I said, a color that looks like fire. But don't make it too dark, because if it's too dark, it won't look like a muzzle flash. Make sure it's a color near white, so it will look like a bright glow, not a darkish glow. Once you select your color, play with scrollers so you can set the range to the desired glow. Use range, jitter, and size so you can establish your desired glow, but don't exaggerate it, because if it's exaggerated it won't look realistic. Once you're done, click on OK and then select the smudge tool. If you can't find your smudge tool, it's on the blur icon. There's a little triangle on the lower right. Click it and then select the smudge. What I do to give it the main form is that I increase the smudge size to a large scale smudge, and I smudge it into shape. Then I finish it off by reducing the size of the smudge and give it a little touch up so it can go all pointy and fiery. To change the smudge size, it's just like a brush. Once you're done, save it as a JPEG file. That stands for a Joint Photo Expert Group file. Make sure you create at least 3 types of muzzle flashes for each angle and for each gun. You can then use them again and again in different films. Just remember to change the size every time you use them, or it will look like you're using them again and again and again. Launch Adobe After Effects. Now you need to import your video. You can do this by pressing Ctrl-I or going to File, Import, then select File again. Once it's finished, click on it and drag it all the way down to Timeline. The timeline is on your lower left of the screen. And now it's time for the muzzle flash. Import your muzzle flash by pressing Ctrl-I or File, Import, File. Then drag it and drop it to the timeline. Make sure the muzzle flash is on top of the video file. You will notice that the muzzle flash will appear on top of everything. Now, the reason I choose black as the background, this is so the blending can work. Right click the muzzle flash, go to blending options and select screen. You will notice how the blending filters out all the black and leaves the glow and the shiny effect on the muzzle flash. If you use keying, you will just get a dull image. it won't be any transparent or anything, and you won't have the glow, because on keying you only remove the black, and that includes the glow and everything that has black in it. So I don't like keying that much. Here's an example. Using time control, go one frame before you pull the trigger. In my case, it will be this part. And then go to the timeline options of the muzzle flash. You can access them by clicking on that little triangle thingy. Once you click it, go to position. In position, you need to click that little stopwatch icon. Once you click it, drag the muzzle flash all the way to the bottom of the screen, or until you cannot see it anymore. Now advance one frame. That frame will be when you pull the trigger. Drag the muzzle flash all the way from the bottom to the barrel of the gun. Now advance another frame and drag the muzzle flash all the way back down. And now rewind your video to see the progress. You now need to touch up the scene of your video. Click on your video and then go to Effects and then Color Correction. Play with brightness and contrast and exposure controls until you touch up the scene. Make sure to darken it a little bit so the glow can look a little bit better. Once you're done editing the scene, go to one frame before you pull the trigger. In my case, it will be this frame. Then go to Effect, Color Correction, Brightness and Contrast. Click on the little stopwatch icons on brightness and contrast. Then advance one frame when you pull the trigger and when the muzzle flash appears. Then set the brightness to 50 and the contrast to 34. Or you can use other values depending on your situation. Like if it's a bright day, you don't need to add too much brightness or anything. Or if you're outside, you don't need to add brightness at all unless you're hiding in the shade. Once you're done, advance another frame and set the values to half of the other values. In my case, it will be 50, then I set it to 25. In contrast, it will be 34, then I set it to 16. Then we advance another frame and we set them back to 0 or to your other defaults. Now, rewind your video and click play to see your progress. A good tip is the acting. Acting is the most important thing to the muzzle flash. It's more important than the actual effect. That's because when you're acting, you have to move the gun to give it the effect of being a powerful gun, or that's depending on the type of gun you're supposed to shoot. If it's a 9mm, well, you won't do like it's a freaking Desert Eagle and poof, oh my god, no. If it's a 9mm, you just go like poof, 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 poof. If it's a Desert Eagle, you just go like bang, bang, bang. Take your time to shoot, to reposition your hand, your aim, and all that shit. If it is a shotgun, you just go like poof, but do not exaggerate the action, because when you exaggerate it, it looks awful and terrible. Because like if you get a plastic BB gun and you like, if it's supposed to imitate a 9mm and then you shoot like boom and you raise your hand all the way up, that looks terrible. Some work is like so terrible and so awful, it's painful to see it on YouTube. Even if you put tests on them, it doesn't mean it will, people say, it's just a test, it's okay. No, if it sucks, well, unfortunately it will always suck. So don't post tests or anything like that. Also, try not to smile when you're shooting a gun or act like an idiot. That's not funny, it's just stupid. Also, if you need help, please don't PM me asking questions, because, well, I never read the PMs, so